Harris, and coming around.
Hi everybody, I'm Irene Johnson.
And we are here to bring you the Collier Community Public Library's virtual book club for November. You want to tell them what we're reading?
Today we are reading The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And we are super excited about this book, and we're going to have a good time discussing it today.
Yeah, just a few things about Sarah Penner. I looked at her website to find out a little bit more about her. She was born and raised in Kansas and lived there until her early adulthood in a small log cabin nestled deep in the woods. I wasn't aware that there were a lot of woods in Kansas, but I believe her.
Apparently there is.
Apparently there is. She began writing seriously in 2015. She was in corporate America. She had a degree in finance, and then in early 2021, after 13 years in corporate America, she left her day job to write full time, which is very exciting. I would love to be a person who could do that. But
yes, absolutely.
Yes, but it's lucky that she was able to do that because we have this book. So lastly, she lives in Florida. We don't know where, she doesn't say, but she lives in the Sunshine State somewhere with her husband and their dachshund, their long-haired dachshund.
That's
named
right.
Zoe.
Named Zoe.
Yes.
Absolutely. And this was her debut novel.
It was, yes.
So for a debut, I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get, let's go back. What were your initial impressions of the book?
So the thing that captivated me to pick this book to begin with was
Irene did pick this book.
I picked this one. So if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry. I loved the pretense of the book, that you have this apothecary who is basically going to help women kill off men who aren't behaving. And it was very intriguing to me because it was set back in historical fiction, but at the same time it's got the present tense fiction. Mm-hmm. So when I saw it and read it, I went, ooh, I really like this book. When I finished the book, I said, ooh, I picked a good one. My overall impression was it was a really good book.
It ticked a lot of my boxes too. I love historical fiction. I am a sucker for historical fiction. So you give me anything that's set in the past and I'm there for it. And I did enjoy the way that the two storylines between the past and the present flipped back and forth and neatly dovetailed together. I thought that she did a really good job at that.
She did, and she was pretty impressive because she did it with the three characters.
Yes.
So you added that third voice in there, and it's still, to me, she did a very good job using that third voice and point of view. That still, it added to the book, it didn't take away.
Right. So let's get to the questions that I posted. Was it last week?
Last week,
Last week, okay. I can never remember when I do things. I set these all up very early in advance, and then I kind of forget about them, to be honest with you, but I know that they posted sometime this month. Okay, so first one. What did you think about Nella's choice to start offering poison to women to kill the men who have wronged them?
So I thought it was awesome. So it was a terrible thing to say, right? But back in the day, I mean, because this is set right before 1800s, I think it was in 1791.
Yes.
There was a lot of things going on, and there was no way for women to get out.
Right.
And this particular book, when we talk about one of the people that she gives poisons to kill, he was making moves on a 12-year-old girl.
Yes.
I mean, we would be putting them in prison for life.
Sure would.
You know, and back then, there was nothing that we could do about it, and we were in that type of scenario.
No.
So it intrigued me very much. I was kind of taken back a little because she purely was going on the word of the one person.
Yes, that's true.
There was no research done or anything, so you gotta hope that the person that's coming to you that's saying this person is a bad person really is a bad person, because you don't know. You're purely going by the woman's perspective in this letter that says, I need this person taken care of because of it.
Right. I thought it was a very dark place to start, but I really, like I dig historical fiction, I also dig a dark place. So, you know, I'm glad that the author went there. I think it kept the book from being a little bit too frothy.
Yes.
Because there was this deep dark bad place that Nella was working from. You know, I
Right.
mean, she'd been wronged herself, and she wanted to. Initially, her mother, Nella's mother, was the first apothecary, and she was doing it in a place of helping women through their specific medical ailments that men don't know anything about. So that
Very
was
positive.
it was a very positive thing.
Yeah.
But then when she was betrayed by her own fiance, she went to a very dark place and stayed there. And yeah, so
I think her choice made a lot of sense when you hear the story of that.
yes, absolutely.
When you find out that, you know, she was pregnant and then he basically gave her one of her poisons
Mhm.
to make her lose that baby.
Yes,
And that was, I mean, horrifying.
that's enough.
Yes.
That's enough, definitely. Yes. Okay. Number 2, were you familiar with mudlarking prior to reading this novel, and would you ever try it out?
So I had no idea what mudlarking
Me
was.
either. Me either.
No clue. But my idea of putting on those big galoshes and going out there and trying it, absolutely.
Oh
I
yeah.
think, especially if you think you could, you know, have something like from history come back up at you.
Sure, I know that they find a lot of clay pipes in the Thames, you know, that they were kind of like a disposable thing, you know, men would smoke them, and then, or women too, and then they would just pitch them into the water. So I think they find a lot of those, but that was so cool. I would totally dig doing that.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. Even if you didn't find anything, just putting it all on and going out in there and
Yeah.
giving it the go.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun.
Getting a little dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would certainly try it, but yeah, before this book, I had no idea.
No, I didn't either. But what a fun idea. Next time I go to England, I'm going to see if I can.
Go mudlarking?
Yeah, absolutely. My husband might poo-poo it because it's too stinky, but I'll do it.
Why
I'll
not?
do it. Yeah.
Anything once.
Yeah, I'll try anything once, sure. Okay. So the story features 2 timelines, Nella and Eliza in the past and Caroline in the present. Do you like the dual timeline format, and how did it help slowly reveal the mystery? We're not going to give any spoilers away in this.
Yes.
But what did you think?
I thought the dual timeline was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely added to the book, didn't take away.
Yeah.
I did feel like Nella and Eliza's story was a stronger story
I
than
felt that way
Caroline's.
too, yes.
So I felt like it was needed because it helped flow. Like I said, we're not going to give any spoilers away, but I wish that there was a little bit more beefy story to the
Mhm.
Caroline side.
What we can tell you about Caroline is that she is on the verge of going to London for, I think it was 10 days, for her 10-year wedding anniversary to her husband. And it's not giving anything away because it happens right in the beginning of the book. She finds out that her husband has been having an affair. And she decides that she is going to go on this vacation without him,
Yep.
to have some time and perspective to think about what she wants to do. And I won't say anything more than that, but she is in London and she goes mudlarking and she finds something in the Thames which intrigues her.
And that's what kind of ties the 2 stories together.
Yes, it does tie the 2 stories together because Caroline originally in college was a history major. And she's really into historical research, although it kind of fell by the wayside when she got married and she started working for her family farm, doing the bookkeeping and that kind of thing. But it was stability and it was a good paying job, so she decided she would go for it. But she kind of lost that sense of herself in that she really loved doing this historical research. So when she gets to England and somebody pulls her off the, well, doesn't pull her off, but, you know, asks her to come mudlarking, she kind of says, sure, why not? And she finds something, and it reignites that spark,
That passion.
that
right.
passion that
Absolutely.
she had, and that was interesting. So that was the 2 back and forth definitely. With Caroline trying to figure out what was happening in the past, she was helping us. She was revealing little bits of the story that maybe we didn't see otherwise.
Yes.
About Nella and Eliza.
I thought she did a really good job with both sides, and they definitely married up well. I didn't have any parts in the book where I felt like, where did that come from? I really think it was
No.
it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, it was smooth. There were no jolty transitions between one or the other. You know, you started I mean, they gave the headings at the beginning of each chapter so you knew who was talking, but even without that, I wouldn't have had a problem.
No, it was really
No.
good.
It was very good, yes. Okay. Question 4. Nella and Eliza develop an unlikely friendship. Why did the two of them have such a strong bond?
I thought about this question a little bit before I came over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of it comes from, I think Nella always had a maternal side to her. And when she lost her baby, that you kind of see that. And I think she has a real heart or maternal side to Eliza. And I think she almost sees her like a daughter.
Yeah.
And in some ways you notice in the book where she kind of tries to push her away, but it's for her own safety.
Right.
It's never really being pushed away because she doesn't really want her there.
she does.
It's for the safety of her, and she misses her when she's not there.
Yes.
So I think the unlikely friendship comes, can we say how they meet?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically what happens in the very beginning of the story is Eliza's mistress sends her to
We should
Nella.
also mention that Eliza is 12 years old.
Yes, she's only 12 years old, and she's a handmaid servant, basically. And she's asked to go over and get poison, basically, to take care of the husband, who has been basically making moves on Eliza.
Right.
And she's only 12 years old. So the wife is not very happy
No.
and is disgusted with her husband.
And this is not the first time it's happened with a maidservant
Right.
in the house.
She had another one who got pregnant
Right.
by her husband, so she wanted to take care of it. So this is how they come across each other, is that Eliza comes, meets Nella this way. And I think she's a little shocked that Eliza's 12 and she's there. I think she's a little shocked by how young she is and that are asking her to do it.
I thought she wasn't just shocked that she was just 12 years old, but what a presence that she had and how mature she was for being 12 years old.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Eliza really was very, very much of a strong character, and she had presence of mind, and she was not, afraid of things, especially because it's not giving anything away to say that Eliza takes the poisoned eggs home, cooks them up, and serves them to her master.
Yes.
Yes.
She does, and he dies. So
Spectacularly, I might add.
yes, and we are not very sorry about that at all. Not at
Not
all.
really, no.
And so in that case, I was pretty pleased. So that's the very beginning of the story, and that's kind of how you meet Eliza. And her point of view is very intricate to the story. I think she brings a whole different voice.
Yes.
And it's a very strong voice for being only a 12-year-old character.
And it's interesting you say voice because I listened to this book.
Okay,
Did you read it or listen to it?
I read it.
Okay, so I listened to it, and they did 3 different voices for the 3 different characters of Caroline, Nella, and Eliza. And the voices really brought it home, and they were really good at reading. So if you get a chance, it's on Hoopla. You can download the audio version of The Lost Apothecary today if you want to and start listening to it. I highly recommend it.
I might have to listen to it.
I would. I mean, Nella's voice, she's got like Eliza has more of a proper voice, whereas Nella is more of a kind of like a Cockney
Okay.
voice.
Accent.
So Eliza sounds a little bit more, I guess, I don't want to say that Cockney isn't educated, because that's not true, but it just, Eliza sounds like she comes from, higher up in society.
Less
Whereas,
literal.
yeah, whereas Nella, she has just the speech patterns of somebody who isn't, a wealthy person, and it was really, really electric to listen to it.
Okay, I'll have to definitely think about doing an audible on that, because I enjoyed the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go to question 5.
I think this is our last question.
It is. So Caroline sidelined her own career plans when she got swept up in a marriage and trying for a baby. How did coming to London and investigating the apothecary help give her direction?
Well, we kind of talked about this a little,
We did already mention it a little, yes.
but basically it forced her to really take a look at herself outside of her husband, outside of herself with a marriage, outside of herself with her family, but just herself. What did she want? What was her passions? What were her desires? What did she feel strongly about? And that's when she started to look inside and get this historical artifact that we're going to call a historical artifact that came out of the river,
Yep.
and it made her realize that she really still had this passion for history, and she really enjoyed it, and she wanted to do the research, and she wanted to go through that process again, and it ignited a passion in her that she hadn't seen. And I think regardless if her husband had cheated or not cheated, this was a positive thing for her.
I agree. And it's never positive when a spouse cheats on another, but it did bring her back to herself.
Absolutely.
And it brought her back to who she was and made her kind of look around and go, what am I doing here? Kind of thing. So, when you lose yourself in a relationship or a job or whatever, if you lose your sense of self, then it's always important to be mindful of those things and then come back to it and reassess. Self-reflection is a good thing.
I think that was the theme of the story in some ways.
Yeah.
That to look deep inside of yourself and realize you're more than a apothecary, like that was her title, or you're more than a child.
Yes.
You're more than, for a long time I was a caregiver to my mother. I'm more than a caregiver. I'm more than a spouse.
Right.
I'm more than a wife. I'm multiple things, and realizing inside of all those things, that all those roles I play, I'm also Irene.
You're also you.
What does Irene need?
Yes.
What sets my passions? What sets my fire? And I think this book made me reflect on some of that too.
Yeah,
and
I think it did
realize,
for me as well. Yeah.
For me, it's I need space sometimes. That
Yeah.
alone, I have a busy life, and having that space and just that time to reflect about my day is really good for me. And sometimes I forget to take time for myself.
And then you get grumpy and you're thinking, why am I grumpy? And it's like, oh, right, I haven't had any downtime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And self-downtime, if that makes any,
Self-downtime, yes.
without somebody else, even if it's just take a walk. But absolutely, I thought the theme of the book was great. And I think the other theme in the book was actions have consequences. So when we talk in our Zoom call, which is next Tuesday at 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
there's some definitely not pieces of the puzzle I want to talk about specific to the book
Oh, me too.
that have spoilers.
Me too.
So definitely, if you have not read this book yet or listened to this book yet, either way, go ahead and listen to it. It's definitely worth the read.
Yeah.
And
It was a quick read, but it was also a very interesting read and a fun read too.
And we'd love to have you in our Zoom chat. So if you are interested,
Join us next week, Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Send me an email and I will get you an invitation to the Zoom call. So it's Anna, ANNA.Karras, Karras, at colliercountyfl.gov.
perfect.
And just shoot me an email. I will send you back the Zoom invitation link, and then you can join us next Tuesday on the 30th, the last day of the month.
The last day of the month.
Yes, and
In the meantime, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Thanksgiving.
And we
Have a
will
good one.
we'll hopefully see you on the 30th.
Yes. Come on back, and we look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.